what's up guys? This is not a vlog video, but it's just a real world topic, and I'm watching the Joe Rogan Experience podcast number 711, and I'll link it if you guys want to check it out, and I'll tell you the parts where you should check out. And he's basically talking about what would happen if the world's power today just dropped, like no power whatsoever. Would we be able to survive as humans? We wouldn't have cell phones, we wouldn't have phone numbers. Let's just say, for example, with a cell phone like this right here, this thing right here, it has everything on there, from your credit cards, your bank information, your friends' numbers, and 9 times out of 10 you don't even know your friends' numbers anymore. And the thing about it is, if you live in a major city, that's going to be the hellhole of the world if the power goes out and they say, okay, for the next 6 months there's going to be no power. Are you going to be able to survive, or is half of humanity going to die? And I think a lot of people would die based on the fact that in school, like elementary school, high school, junior high, we don't teach our kids how to make stuff. We don't teach them how to garden. And that's a major factor that we should be teaching people, is how to garden, how to grow their own vegetables, how to get their own food. Because most people couldn't go back to like the 1800s and go, yeah, I can go milk my own cow, or yeah, I can get chickens to give me some eggs so I can eat, or I can plant my own garden. No, a lot of people can't even do that, because cars have computers on them, and I've heard of people actually hacking into people's cars and making people's cars go from 0 to like 50, or they make the car slow down and stop, and the driver's like, I ain't doing nothing, but they're hacking it with just a basic laptop. If you know what you're doing, you could probably hack a lot of stuff. But I'm just being a realistic person, saying all this stuff that you have here, just to run my YouTube channel, just what I use, for an example, to upload right now. I'm using a HD web camera, a $40 microphone, a $50 lamp, and a $800 computer. That's just it to record this video and upload it to you guys. Would all be useless at that point. You wouldn't have people doing podcasting. You would probably have people, like I said, would try somehow to get some sort of realistic solar panels, and some way to get gas, because eventually gas would stop working. Because if you notice, all the gas pumps and everything are done by electronics and done by computers. I would really love to see how they did it in the 1800s and how people survived then. I think technology is a very, very great thing that we have. But I really do think a lot of times when you're not thinking about it, just realize what town you live in and where you live, what it takes to keep you and your family and your community going and striving. It takes a lot of manpower to keep that generator going, keep that power plant running. You don't realize it could take 300, 400 people to run that power plant. Especially where I live, there's over 100,000 people. I think we got around 800,000 to 900,000 people where I live. And just imagine if the power supply went out and they said there's no more power in Jacksonville, Florida for another 8 months. Would people just pack their bags with everything they can and get out? Or would they be trying to do some other stuff like MacGyvering some solar panels? Because at the end of the day, I think the way humanity is, we rely so much on technology to do everything for us, from credit cards to cell phones, which I don't think we should rely on these things. They're great devices. They do a hell of a great job. Let's just say it wasn't even a power outage. It was like a solar flare came into or like an asteroid hit the planet and 20% of the world died. You know how hard it would still be to actually survive as a regular dude. You wouldn't even think about going to work anymore. You wouldn't think. Be able to go to the store or go hunt. That's the thing. A lot of people nowadays, they physically cannot go out and hunt. They're like, I can't go kill that cow, or I can't kill that chicken. But I think when times get rough, you're gonna do whatever it takes to survive. That's why you see, when you ever watch these documentaries with like lions and tigers and all that kind of stuff, they do everything in their power to survive, to And you know, one last thing that is mind-boggling by listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, he was saying, okay, let's say we get injured and like the whole power supply and everything's down. You don't have Wikipedia or Amazon or Google to Google stuff. You don't have YouTube to watch videos. So if you like sliced your leg open, you wouldn't know what to do. You wouldn't know if you take alcohol and put it on there. You wouldn't know if you can do whatever. You wouldn't know the medical field. Maybe there's a... But what I'm getting at is when I talk to certain people that are younger than me, like I talked to my niece once about not having cell phones and not having tablets and not going on the internet. And she goes, that's primitive dinosaur age. And she made me feel like I'm like 1,000 years old because I grew up in an age where if you wanted to have fun, you'd go out and play in the dirt, you'd go ride a bicycle, you would do that. And when I hear my parents, what they went through, it makes me look like, wow, they had it way rougher than I did. But you got to look at it. Can they survive in a time where there was no internet? The time now, can society provide a way of living if there was no internet? People in general, you ask them, hey, you know how to plant a garden? They're like, well, yeah, and I understand, kind of. But no, they don't. You don't understand. You do the composting, you plant these plants, and you don't realize a lot of times when you go to the grocery store that you're buying certain plants, certain vegetables that are there all year long. But in reality, if you didn't have the chemicals and all the stuff that we have as humans, a lot of that stuff would not be there because we genetically make some of these plants and some of these fruits and vegetables grow all year long. Because, for example, watermelon is only a summertime fruit. Is it a fruit? Vegetable? Fruit? Whatever. But if you do it yourself, it doesn't grow until like May, June, or July, or whatever it grows. It doesn't grow in the wintertime. And how can you buy it in the wintertime? Because they're doing it in greenhouses that have temperatures that are really hot, so it manufactures it to grow. So at the end of the day, let me know what you would do if you were ever in an apocalyptic incident and the actual world went to shit.